This conference will now be recorded.
Today we are going to discuss AngularJS. Okay, so these are the topics what we are going to discuss today. What is AngularJS? What is MVC in AngularJS? And working with AngularJS library. Is it okay, all of you? Right. So coming to first one, what is AngularJS? Now coming to what is AngularJS? So the definition of AngularJS goes like this. It is a structural framework for developing dynamic web applications. So this is a technical definition for AngularJS, structural framework for developing dynamic web applications. Now what is this structural? So structural means MVC, right? So structural means MVC. So developing your application using MVC model. So today we'll discuss what is this MVC model and framework. So framework means library, okay, plus environment. So basically every browser supports only three technologies: one, HTML, two, CSS, and three, JavaScript. So what we are going to do is we are going to use this angular.js library in our HTML page, and once your web page is loaded, this angular.js will provide environment for executing our AngularJS coding in a web page. So that is what is we call it as framework. So framework simple definition is reusable library. So framework means reusable library. We can call framework also as reusable library, right? Developing. So developing means development. So developing means development. Dynamic. So dynamic means data or information in a web page changes with respect to time, with respect to location, with respect to user. So change of data in web page with respect to time, location, and user. Okay, so dynamic information or data in a web page changes with respect to time, with respect to location, and with respect to user. Web applications. So web applications means your websites, collection of web pages. So this is the technical definition of AngularJS. Once again, I'll repeat this. Structural framework for developing dynamic web applications. So structural means MVC, framework means library plus environment for executing AngularJS coding in a browser web page. Developing, development. Dynamic, change of data or information in a web page with respect to time, with respect to location, and with respect to user. Okay, and finally web application means website. So developing our websites. Now what is this MVC? Okay, so now we'll understand what exactly is this MVC. Right, so coming to what is MVC, right? So MVC, it is a model for developing any computer software. It is a model for developing any computer software, right? So whenever you want to develop any computer software or computer application, So MVC says that our application is divided into three sections. Okay, so application development is divided into three sections. The first one is model, which means data. Two, view. So view means user presentation. So V means view, user presentation. And three, controller. So controller means logics in application. So any application development using MVC is divided into three sections. One, model. Model means data, the data which is used in our application. For example, okay, you can take Flipkart. So in Flipkart application, you have mobiles. Okay, so we have pen drives. So this is data which is processed in our application. Mobiles data, pen drives data, okay, electronics data, etc. That is what is you mean by data which is used, data which is processed in our application, right? Next, coming to view. So view means presentation of data. So how the data is presented to the user. So generally we present the data to the user in the form of table, in the form of list, or in the form of images, okay, or in the form of text. So presentation of data to the user in your application. Example, in our web application, we use tables, we use lists, we use images, we use text. Next, logics in our application is nothing but controller. So for example, you are doing online shopping. So in online shopping, if you are doing a shopping of 10,000, you will be getting a discount of 10%. If you are doing a shopping of 10,000, okay, you'll be getting a discount of 10%. Okay, so for example, your shopping value is rupees 10,000. Okay, so now on this 10,000, you have to calculate the discount. So discount is 10% of shopping value. So this 10% of shopping value will be equal to 1,000. So how much you have to pay for this? So after 10,000, your total bill will be somewhere around rupees 9,000. So this 9,000 you have to do the billing. So here in our web page, we are going to perform some calculations. We are going to perform some logics, and that logic is 10% of discount. So if you want to perform this, we require a JavaScript, and that JavaScript in MVC, we are going to do it with AngularJS coding. So this is what is MVC, model, view, controller. So model, data which is used in our application. Next, view, presentation of data to the user. 3, controller, logics in our application. So I'm going to show you a small diagram on this. Okay, so see the diagram, you'll get the clarity what exactly is MVC. Right, so MVC in AngularJS model. So this model is nothing but your data. Okay, so MVC here, model. So model is nothing but our data. So I'm going to write here data. So the data which is processed in our application. Next, view. So view means presentation of data. So this is nothing but the presentation of data. View is nothing but presentation of data. Means the data which is presented to the user. So view is nothing but presentation of data. So this data will be presented to the user. Okay. So controller. So controller is nothing but logics. The business logic, what you write, discount, billing, addition of all the things in your application. So that is what is nothing but your controller. Controller is nothing but business logics. So this logic can be anything. For example, if you are making a call on a prepaid mobile, so once you take a call and once you finish the call, automatically balance will be deducted from your mobile. So that is what we call it as business logic. So that is what we call it as business logic. Is it okay, all of you? So this is what we call it as model view controller. So model view controller. Right. I hope the diagram is visible for all of you. Model view controller. Right. So now business logic. So this business logic, we are going to write it with our JavaScript coding. Is it okay, all of you? So business logic, we are going to write it with a JavaScript coding. Right. So assume that this is your JavaScript coding. Right. So this JavaScript coding allows us to write business logic in our web page. And technically, this JavaScript coding, we call it as controller in our AngularJS or in MVC. Okay, right. Now, for example, you want to have some dynamic data in our application. So this JavaScript coding communicates with the server. So this JavaScript coding communicates with the server. So this is your server. Okay, so the server can be, okay, for example, Tomcat server if you are using Java technology. It can be Internet Information Server if you are using .NET technology, or it can be something like XAMPP server if you are using PHP technology. So this JavaScript coding communicates with server. So this communication is done with Ajax. So we are going to discuss Ajax in the last in AngularJS. And finally, this server communicates with database. Okay, so this server communicates with database. So it communicates with database. So database, and the commonly used databases are, okay, Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server. So that is the server side technology which has the capability to communicate with the server. Right. So this is what is our MVC. Right. So I'll just have a glance at this, all of you. A clear understanding what exactly is MVC. Model. So model means data. So the data which is present in our application. Mobiles data, pen drive data, transaction data, balance data, Gmail data, Facebook data, any data, comments, everything, images, the data which is processed in our application. View. View means presentation of data in our application. Controller. So controller means writing logics in our application. And this logics we are going to write it with JavaScript coding. And this JavaScript coding has the capability to communicate with the server. It can be Java Tomcat server, it can be .NET information, Internet Information Server, or it can be PHP XAMPP server. And if you are using Python, it can be Python Django server. Okay. And finally, the server side technology will communicate with the database. And from this database, we will get the dynamic data information which changes from time to time, location to location, user. So such data from database will come to the server, and from server it is sent to JavaScript using JSON technology. Using JSON technology, JavaScript object notation. So it is called as JavaScript object notation. And from this JavaScript, such data will be stored in Modal, AngularJS variables. Is it okay, all of you? Yes. So this is what is MVC, Model View Controller in AngularJS. Okay. So from the database, we are going to get dynamic data. So it is dynamic data, and that data will come to the server, and server side technology Java.NET PHP will send it to JavaScript, and from JavaScript will update to the model. And from model, if you want to write any logics, we are going to do it in controller, and from controller we are going to present the data back to the user. And finally, the user will access such data through web page in the form of HTML web page. So finally, it is a user who will be accessing this data. So this is nothing but your user. This is nothing but the user, and this user will have browser to communicate with your application, and internally this application uses MVC, Model View Controller, for developing dynamic web applications. Right? So this is MVC in AngularJS. Right. So let's get back. Simple. I want to give you a few technical points here. Note 1. So model. So model is nothing but data in our application, or simply web application. Okay. Right. 2. View. So view is nothing but presentation of data. Okay. And this presentation of data will do it with HTML and CSS. Next, 3. Controller. So controller is nothing but logics or coding in web application, and this we are going to write it with AJS coding. Right. So model means data, view, presentation of data, controller, logics or coding in our web application. Right. So this is what we call it as model view controller. Okay. Model view controller. So model means data. Model means data, the data which is processed in our application. View, presentation of data. Controller, logics or coding in our data. And coming to this model, we are going to store the data in AngularJS variables. AngularJS variables. So this is what is MVC architecture. or Modal for developing dynamic web applications. Right. So I hope it is clear for you. If you have any queries, I'm going to answer you at the end of the session. So just give me 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. We'll see now what is angular.js library. Okay. Right. So for this, we have to go to www.angularjs.org. So go to this website www.angularjs.org. Okay, so angularjs.org, and from here I'm going to download AngularJS. Right. So we have all these options. So what are all these options? I'll discuss that later. So select the latest version 1.7. Select uncompressed and click on download. Okay, so once again I'll show you. Select the latest version 1.7.x uncompressed version and click on download. Right, 1.7.x uncompressed version and click on download. So automatically it will be downloaded, okay, in the form of a JavaScript file. So this JavaScript file, okay, save. So save this in your working directory. Okay, so for saving this, I'm using the shortcut Control S. Control S. Right, it's asking us to where we have to save this. So save this in G colon. Save this in your G colon. Right, under G colon, I'm going to save this in AngularJS Online, and here I'm going to save it angular.js. Angular.js, and finally click on save. Click on save button. So it is going to save angular.js library in our web page. You can say it on save. Right. So once it is saved, okay. Right. So what you do is, okay. So here, go to angularjs.org, download angular.js file, and this file save in your working directory. So generally our working directory will be G colon AngularJS Online. So I'm going to save all our files here. Right, AngularJS Online. Right, now I'm going to show you how to use this angular.js. How to use angular.js file. So basically we are going to use with script source angular.js, close the script tag. Right, so this is what is a tag which I'm going to use in our web page under head section. Okay, so use it under head section of your web page. Right, so now I'm going to open a new page and type the coding for you. So Control N to open a new page in Notepad++ editor. Okay, so the editor what I'm using is Notepad++. So it is a free software. You can download it from this website, https notepad++.org. It's a free software. You can download it from this website, the latest version, install on your system. So take a new page. First I'm going to write comments. So this is what we call it as comments in HTML. So working with angular.js library in HTML. Okay, so comments provide only description of web page. So for example, if anyone is reading your HTML file, so comments provide easy understanding of your web page. So description of your web page. So under this comment, I'm going to take HTML opening, HTML closing tags. So in HTML, we write the coding using tags. Okay, HTML opening, HTML tags. Next, we'll write head section. Okay, and we'll write body section. Okay, so under the head section, I will write one title. So let us say my title is AngularJS. Close the title. So this title will appear on the title bar of your browser. It will appear on title bar of your browser. Right. So save the program. Right. So I'm going to save this under my computer g:\AngularJS online, and I'm going to save this as demo1.html. Okay, so the file extension for HTML is .html. .html is the file extension for our HTML pages. Right, so simply click on save. Right, so we can see all the colors in the web page are also changed. Now in Notepad++, we have an option here, run. So just click on run. Okay, and say launch in Chrome. Automatically the browser will open. Okay, and you can see here we have AngularJS, which is appearing on the title bar. This is the title of our web page. Next, come back to the Notepad++. Here I'm going to take one heading h1, and the heading is AngularJS web page. Close the h1 and take one horizontal line. Right, so heading will appear in big font plus bold. Okay, and HR. So HR gives us one horizontal rule or simply horizontal line. Save this. Simply come to the browser and say refresh. Right, so we can use Ctrl++ for zooming. Ctrl++ for zooming. Right, now under the head section, I'm going to use script source angular.js. Close the script, and we should make sure that this angular.js is in our working directory. Okay, so this library will be available to our web page, and then during the page downloading process, it will be available in the memory of the browser. And this library, we have to use it in our web page. So it is used like this. So AngularJS coding starts with ng app. Okay, AngularJS coding starts with ng app. So ng app in our web page is like starting point of our AngularJS coding. It is like starting point of AngularJS in our web page. Next, here I'll take one input text field. Enter your name. Input type equal to text. Okay, and I'm going to use ng model, and this ng model I'll take something like uname. So ng model uname is binded with this text field. So whenever you enter something in the text field, that will be available in this uname in the memory. Next, simply save this, come to the browser and say refresh. Enter your name. Next, so body, for this body I'll take one background color, PG color. I'll make it as light yellow. Save it, simply come to the browser and say refresh. So now the background color is light yellow. Now I want to type here my name, Sai Ram. So whenever I type this name, I have to get the welcome message in the down. So in the next, I'm going to display one welcome message. So I'll take one break here, I'll take another break here, and I'm going to display welcome. I'll take one span tag, uname in my AngularJS binding expression. Okay, right, so this is what is AngularJS binding expression, which helps us to display the data in our web page. And this is what is, we call it as a modal variable, which helps us to store, which helps us to process input data from the user using input fields. And ng app indicates it is a starting point of our AngularJS coding in a web page. ng app, ng model, and binding expression. Right, now simply save this, come to the browser and say refresh. Now I'll type here Sai. Okay, see here, automatically it is updated in our binding expression using binding expression. So which is nothing but our AngularJS view, presentation of data to the user using binding expression. Right, I'll simply say here Sai space Ram. It is automatically updated. So here I did not use any JavaScript, I did not use any events, but automatically internally one mechanism happens, and that mechanism is known as watch and apply mechanism. And we are going to discuss this watch and apply mechanism more about this in the coming sessions. Okay, right, so this is a web page where we are going to use our AngularJS coding using AngularJS library with script tag. And three important AngularJS coding in a web page. One, ng app. Two, ng model. And three, binding expression. These are the three things. Okay, right, so this is what is today's topic. Okay, right, so today we discussed what is AngularJS, what is MVC in AngularJS, and working with AngularJS library. Right, okay, right, so if you have, so this is what is the topic for today. If you have any queries, okay, you can put those queries in the chat window. Okay, I'll be able to reply to all of you one by one. Okay. Right, so somebody asked me, Arpan, what do you mean by Java? Okay, are we using JavaScript or TypeScript? So this is purely JavaScript framework, Arpan. It is not TypeScript. Angular 7 is another course which is TypeScript. Right. So model mean framework. No, model is not framework. Model means data which is used in our application. Framework means library plus environment. Okay, so I'm going to share all these notes and videos. Once again, you can have a review. Okay, now. So model means data. Okay, right. So you have to see here. You have to share your mail ID with DurgaSoft online team, and they will share it to me, and then I'll be sending you all the material and videos to your IDs. Okay, so you have to share your IDs with DurgaSoft online team. Right, Arpan, is that clear? Saturday we have a class, Sunday we don't have a class. Okay, right. Just now I have shown you how to download AngularJS. Okay, once go through the video, you'll get the answer. How to download AngularJS, right, Shatrughan? Right. Next, Kamlesh. Right, absolutely. Kamlesh, you are a fresher. AngularJS, we have many openings for fresher, and for Java students, it is very easy to learn AngularJS. Is that okay, Kamlesh? These videos will be available to you, okay, in our Google Drive, okay, 6 months. In that 6 months, you can access these videos, right, Rohit? And material will be given to you permanently, right? Material will be given to you permanently. Shatrughan asked me, will you cover React? No, we are not going to cover React.js in this. This is purely AngularJS. Yes, absolutely. We are I'm going to spend time on HTML, CSS, as well as JavaScript. All these things will be covered for you. Right. So Padmaja is asking what is ng model and what is binding expression. Yeah, I'm going to discuss more on this in the coming session. Right, Padmaja? Okay. Right. In the basics of AngularJS, I'm going to discuss what is ng model, what is binding expression. Is that clear, Padmaja? I'm going to discuss. We have a separate topic for that. Right. So just follow me what I'm saying you. I'll make you a good developer with good understanding in AngularJS. Everything will be covered for you step by step. Right. So Arpan, this is 35 sessions, 35 to 40 sessions, Arpan. Okay. And daily it will be 1 hour. Okay. Right. Right. So here we are going to discuss all the examples based on real-time project only. Is that okay, Rohit? So we are not going to discuss any real-time projects separately. Okay. Whatever the examples I'm going to discuss in each and every topic, that you can put it as a real-time project only. You will get the clarity in the sessions. Right. Still any other question from anybody? Kamlesh, Rohit. Padmaja. Right. Yeah, all demo videos along with today's class are sent to my email. Yes, absolutely. You can check your email and you can access it, Padmaja. Right. Padmaja, it is sent to your mail ID. You can just check it out. Right, Kamlesh, do you need to learn HTML first? Okay, so no issue. If you learn HTML, that's well and good, but I'm going to teach you HTML also. Is it okay, all of you? I'm going to teach you basics of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Right, still any other queries from any of you? Right, yeah, Arpan, yes, Arpan, do you need to pay first to get mail? Absolutely, Arpan. You have to make the fee payment with Durgasoft online team. Okay. Through that channel only, I'll be sending you all the videos and material for your access from Google Drive. Right. Still any other queries? Right. Like Rohit is asking me, all these videos are available in YouTube. Then why we have to join this course? No issues, Rohit. Rohit Gupta. Right. See, whatever we are going to discuss here will be based on real-time topics. Okay. Right. So you can join this and you'll see the difference between YouTube and online training. Okay. There is lots of difference between YouTube and online training. So online training is as if like your classroom training. It is two-way communication. YouTube is just one-way communication. Okay. Right. Rohit, is that okay? Right. So every day, okay, every day I'm going to teach you HTML, CSS, and JavaScript only. Is it okay, all of you? Every day I'll teach you HTML, CSS, and JavaScript along with AngularJS. All these things will be embedded in our programming. Is that okay, Kamlesh? Right. So, so before we wind up this session for today, so Shatrughan is asking, will you take any PHP or .NET? So I'm going to take one example from Java, one example from PHP, one example from .NET to make Ajax communication, asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So instead of XML, I'm going to use JSON. Is that okay, Shatrughan? Acha, okay, right. You're asking me, are you going to take any classes on PHP or .NET? No, I'm not going to take any separate classes. I'm a Java trainer and I'll be concentrating more on AngularJS and Angular 7, which is based on TypeScript. Is that okay, Shatrughan? Right. Still any other doubts? Padmaja, from your side? Any other doubt? Padmaja, you can check your mail. Okay. I have mailed the daily notes and video recordings also. Right, Padmaja? Now, this does not include Angular 7. Angular 7 is a separate course. It is based on TypeScript. AngularJS is purely based on JavaScript. Right, Arpan? Right. Rohit, any other queries from your side before we wind up the session for today? Kamlesh, any other queries? Shatrughan, any other queries? See, both of them are in demand, ma. AngularJS in demand. Angular TypeScript is also on demand. Angular JavaScript is on demand. Angular TypeScript is also demand. Okay, it is something like Java and .NET. Okay, both are not same course. Both are not upgraded versions. Both are separate courses. Like Java, object-oriented programming, and .NET is also object-oriented programming. Python is also object. Both are separate. Okay, they are not same. Both have good demand in the market. Right, Arpan? Right, so before we wind up the session, so thank you all of you. Uh, Tomorrow we'll meet up again at 8 p.m. Okay, and tomorrow I'm going to discuss some basics of HTML, and also I'm going to discuss some basics of AngularJS tomorrow. Is it okay, all of you? So these will be the tomorrow's topics. Okay, right? So we'll wind up the session for today. Good night, everyone, and see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. And any information related to the fees, okay, you have to talk to Durgasoft online team. Okay, so duration is 35 sessions, daily 1 hour, Sundays holidays. Okay, just follow me. I'll make you a good web application developer in AngularJS. That is my responsibility for all of you. Right, so good night all of you. Have a nice day. Okay, we'll meet up tomorrow again at 8 p.m. Thank you.